Mobile operators. Mobile with tractor. Caravan mobile. Car mobile. And maritime mobile. Teletype. Scouting from South Korea. Sea life. Small animal life. Sport. Slow scan TV. Telecommunication. Weather and atmosphere. Astronomy. Words in call signs. And XYLs. In addition to rare DX, the collection contains QSLs that are of special issue. These usually commemorate some historic event. Some of the prefixes and suffixes of these QSLs are almost unbelievable. From England, celebrating the Queen's Golden Jubilee. Belgium, the usual ON prefix replaced by OQ for a royal celebration. OE80XRW, Austria, 80 years of radio broadcasting in Austria. 9A770N, Croatia. Shetland Islands, field day activity using the MZ5 prefix for the first time. From Canada. Poland. New Zealand, celebrating the new millennium. From South Korea. From Alaska, celebrating the bicentenary of the American Constitution. WY 2000 from the USA, celebrating the millennium. A new prefix 6A1A from Egypt, celebrating the independence of the Sinai. China. And this incredible prefix from Croatia. How different even to the early post-war Portuguese Timor QSL carrying the prefix CR10, which we all thought was most unusual. Australia too has its fair share of special call signs with quite unusual prefixes and suffixes. Celebrating 50 years of peace for Australia since World War II. VI8 TRACY, commemorating the devastation of Cyclone Tracy. Honouring the scientific work of Professor W.H. Bragg. A most complicated call sign, celebrating 75 years of the Royal Corps of Signals. And AX8IARU, honouring the work of the International Amateur Radio Union. This is probably the most controversial call sign ever issued in Australia, and it aroused quite a degree of disbelief and scepticism. It was issued to Squadron Leader Keith McCarthy in 1983 by the then Minister for Communications, the Honourable Michael Duffy, in recognition of Keith's long service to amateur radio. The call was never to be reissued. The card was sent to well-known DXer Ivor Stafford, VK3 X-Ray Bravo, now a silent key. Keith never did get around to having a printed QSL showing his unique call sign. A QSL issued to John Adcock for operation on the 196 kHz band. A unique experimental station call sign issued to Dennis Sillett, also operating on a frequency of 196 kHz. Who's on the end of this QSO? In amateur radio, you can't know everything about the person at the other end of the QSO. Using only first names, it could be almost anyone. Perhaps a royal prince of Saudi Arabia. Or perhaps the late King of Jordan himself. King Hussein was quite active on the bands and a good QSLer. It might be a Malaysian prince. Or Senator Barry Goldwater of the USA, who did so much for amateur radio in that country. Or some scientist at the South Pole. Or an astronaut hundreds of kilometers above you in a space station. Or maybe Dick Smith, making the first Trans-Australia flight in a balloon. These amateur radio people really do get around. The WIA hopes that you've enjoyed this presentation and that you have many happy hours on the air.